Hi everyone, it's Melissa, and today I am reflecting on my past reading year. I'm going to share some stats and update you on how I did for my 2023 goals and just share some general thoughts about my reading year. So we'll start with the basic stats. So this year I read 61 books. I read a lot more nonfiction than I normally do, so I read 34% nonfiction and 66% fiction. This year I had a really great nonfiction reading year. My average star rating was 3.93. I had 5 2-star books, 13 3-star books, 22 4-star books, and 19 5-star books. It's very rare for me to give out low numbers because I think I'm just getting better at knowing my reading tastes, and I also DNF, and I don't star rate my DNFs, so I have a pretty high average rating. And I read 48% of my books this year in print format, 41% in audiobook format, and 11% as digital or ebook format. So those are just a few basic stats for the stats nerds out there like me who are nosy about those types of things. I will update on goals, but I did want to share just some general thoughts I had about how my reading year went. So last year was the first year I really became a mood reader. Previously I had always been a TBR reader, and this year I also mood read for the vast majority of my reads, and it's still working for me, and so I will still continue to read that way. I'll do the odd TBR for different reading initiatives, readathons that I'm really excited for, and sometimes the prompts really, spark something in me that I like to participate in. But other than those few things, I will still be just mood reading. I'm not going to be making like monthly TBRs. It was a much better nonfiction reading year this year than it was fiction. I had some good fiction reads, but I haven't done my top books of the year yet. I haven't even thought about them, and I think when it comes to it, it'll be really hard for me to make a top 10 for fiction. I think maybe like a top 7 or something. I haven't gone back to look, like I said, so maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like that'll be harder. Whereas for my top nonfiction reads, I think it's going to be hard to whittle down to 10. So we'll see how that goes. I think partly the reason I had such a good nonfiction reading year is because of the BookTube Prize and just being aware of some nonfiction that I might not have picked up otherwise, and spurring me on to pick up nonfiction. And I think another part of it was I really made a concerted effort to get to those books that I said I had been really looking forward to, were like these highly anticipated books that I haven't picked up yet. I finally got to a lot of those, and surprise, surprise, I really enjoyed them. So I will be putting out my top reads of the year early January, so stay tuned for that. But I think going into next year, I want to maybe think a little bit more, be more deliberate with what fiction I'm picking up, because my fiction reading was definitely not to the quality of my nonfiction reading this year. Sorry if I'm banging you around a little bit, but you were kind of precariously perched on a tripod in front of me. While I had some really great reads this year, my reading really got derailed, generally speaking, just at several different points during the year. Quantity doesn't really matter. I read fewer books this year than I have in the past few years, but that doesn't really matter to me. But what does matter is that I don't think I had the quality time to read, especially the last half of the year. I also, the last half of the year, didn't have time to really make videos. I made what I could, but it wasn't a lot, and there are many reasons why my reading and my booktube kind of got derailed this year. I changed jobs twice this year. I started a new job in April, and I liked a lot of things about it, but it was tricky in terms of finding time because I was commuting and just because of the way the work schedule was, I didn't really have much time for reading and for doing booktube. I switched jobs again. I was offered a job. I wasn't looking for a job, but I was offered a job. So I switched jobs in November. So, well, that's good, and I should have more time for reading now. Switching jobs is still, can be a little bit chaotic. So I was very busy the last part of the year. And then just being frank, the state of the world really, it's really sad. I don't actually really want to go on about it because I don't want this to be oh, woe is me, because I'm fine. It's other people who are suffering. But I do care about people, and I have a lot of compassion, and it's hard to watch world atrocities and feel helpless. And I found myself a lot of times just not wanting to read, just not having the motivation to do much of anything. I've tried to focus on doing what little I can, like, calling or writing to my MP and other government officials. And so, yeah, my heart has been heavy, as I'm sure a lot of your hearts are heavy. I'm not going to dwell on this because I don't have the expertise or knowledge to really comment any further, just to say what I've already said. So moving on to reading goals, because I do want to give an update. Watching people update on their reading goals is like my favorite part of December/January on BookTube. I've always been a list maker and a goal setter, so I really, really enjoy goal updates. So here is mine. I kept it pretty chill this past year. And any other year, I think all of these would have been attainable. But I had a bit of a chaotic year, changing jobs twice and just having my reading just derailed multiple times. And so I didn't hit all of them like I probably should have. But I actually did better than I thought I had, because the last half of the year I haven't thought about these goals at all. I had 5 goals. The first 3 are related to reading and the last 2 are related to my channel. So goal number 1 was to reduce my physical TBR to 100 books. And I have just done this. I am filming this on December 31st, right under the wire. I just finished the book that put me to 100. I started the year with, I can't quite remember, 131 or something like that. I'm going to do an entire video dedicated to my unread books on my shelves and talk about them a little bit in a little bit more detail. But I made it to 100. I am so happy. And when I started this project of reading off my shelves, a year or a couple, gosh, how many years ago? 2 or 3 years ago now. There were over 200 unread books rather. So very happy to have it down to 100. Goal number 2 was to read at least one book from a country I've never read from before, and I read a country from Poland. I've forgotten the name. Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead? Is that the name? It's by, I've forgotten her name too. Tokarczuk is the last name. I'll place a picture here and I'll make sure it's in the description below. But that might have been the only book I read that fits this goal. But I said read at least one, and I've done that. Goal number 3 was to read more Canadian literature. And I really failed at this one. I thought I was going to do so well. I had started the year participating in the Read Across Canada Challenge that Jolene from Bookworm Adventure Girl had put on. We were reading across the different provinces, and I was so psyched for it. And again, reading just got derailed, and I wasn't really paying attention. I actually did worse this year than I have in past years. I read 5 Canadian books. And by Canadian books, I mean like by Canadian authors. I read 5 Canadian books this year. Last year I had read 9 and the year before I read 11, so it's getting worse. I haven't really thought about what my goals for 2024 will be, but I'm going to have to really think about how I tackle this because I do want to read more Canadian literature, but like, I don't know. I don't really know how to get around that. So the last 2 goals were more related to BookTube and my channel. So goal number 4 was to have captions for all of the new videos. I'm not going to go back to however many years of videos and do them all. And I'm going to say yes to this, even though I'm behind, but I am going to do it. So I think I'm behind 2 or 3 videos. I had been for most of the year really good about getting the captions up within 24 hours. But again, end of the year has just been kind of chaotic, and I think I'm behind 2 or 3 videos, but I will caption those. And my last goal, number 5, was to do at least 2 pop culture osmosis videos. This is a series I've done on my channel for the past few years, and sadly I didn't do any. I had the books all picked out what I was going to read, and I just never got around to them. Again, my reading life this year just hasn't been what it has been in the past. And this one hurts the most because I really, really love doing that series. It is so much fun to actually vlog. Like, it's fun to read the books. It's fun to vlog the experience. It's fun to edit it all together. I love doing the pop culture osmosis videos, but they are like more work than some other videos I do, and I just never had the time to do them. So I'm really sad about this one, but I am still very keen to keep going with that series. So hopefully in 2024 I'll do some. Just got interrupted by the kiddo, so I think that is my cue to wrap this up. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you had a great year, and I hope that 2024 treats you well. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll chat soon. Take care. Bye.